So greed has infiltrated every aspect of our society, culture, personal lives, even our world. It influences our personal decisions, oftentimes without us even realizing it. Also, it has changed the very character of America, and most importantly, it has shattered the ties between humanity and also between us and our world. So the American dream, well, it started out initially as this amazing idea that people could come to this new country based on democratic ideals and find happiness, respectable work and labor, and really just a new life. Well, now it's turned into, without us even noticing it, we don't know when it happened, but it definitely has changed, into this materialistic motto of people believing that they deserve more money, more possessions, more everything, really. Also, we sort of press it into our younger generations, our little family members. We'll tell them, so do what makes you happy as a job choice, right? Do what makes you happy. Then you'll have a happy life. And then, well, we tell them what we want to do, and they say, sorry, that doesn't make enough money. You should choose something else. Rethink your decision. Because money is what leads to happiness, right? That's what people are telling. As children, that's the message we receive. So how do we go on from this? Well, make sure your children do what really makes them happy. Don't try and force them into what they don't want to do for money, because we pretend that they aren't the same thing. Everyone knows the phrase, money can't buy happiness, but for some reason we set them equivalent to each other at some point. So greed is good. This is one of the quotes that outlines sort of a fundamental principle of any capitalist society and economy. Greed leads to tougher competition, which then leads to more advanced products, and then a more advanced society with better technology. So it is good in its own way, right? It's sort of a benevolent, necessary evil of sorts. You need it to live in a society like we have today. So it sort of has gone beyond that, though. Maybe a little bit of greed is good, but when you make money at the well, there's nothing wrong with making money in the first place, let me clarify. But when you make money at the expense and by the exploitation of others, then that's socially unjust and morally irresponsible too. Okay, so greed is one of the many contributing factors to the pollution in our atmosphere today. So companies would rather dump their industrial waste into our air, water, land, rather than invest in research to find responsible solutions to the increased amount of industrial waste. They avoid global laws and regulations, and they'll just dump. Here, this is Chinese textile factories. They'll dump their waste into the oceans around them. They produce products for companies like Victoria's Secret and Nike and Abercrombie and Fitch. So, explain to future generations, it was good for the economy when we can't farm the land, breathe the air, drink the water. Imagine trying to explain to your grandkids the reason why the water is brown and gray and why there's trash floating in the ocean. Imagine trying to explain to a little kid why it looks like that, why our world is the way it is. It's sort of hard. So this is the Exxon Valdez oil spill in 1989, and then that's the BP one in 2010, so we're all familiar with it, I'm assuming. I mean, it was 3 years ago. So these are sort of a recurring cycle. It keeps happening, but it is, I guess, the price, you would say, of maintaining the world's most advanced civilization history has ever seen, really. I mean, these things do happen. At what point is that price too much to pay? At what point do we draw a line and say it can't happen anymore? One of the other things about oil spills and other things like this is that we push, as a society, all the blame onto BP or Exxon Valdez or the corporation directly responsible and in charge. But really, it's all of us. I mean, we can't live without that stuff. And even if we hate doing it, I mean, on the way to school here, I had to fill my car up with gas. We have to use it as part of a society. And there's nothing we can, as one person, do to stop it, because you can't live without it. So what does it all lead to? Is this really the world we want to leave behind, the mark we want to make on our land, on earth? Is this what we want to be remembered by? Because it's going to come to a stop. The world's resources are finite, and we can't keep on going as we are. Okay, also, the effect it has on other populations that we don't always think of or notice. The environment, it's right in front of us. We can see it happening. We see pollution when we go to the beach in Galveston, on the Gulf of Mexico. But how about child labor, slave labor in countries like Africa or South America, places far away? We don't always think of it. But they are enslaved from the moment they are taken, with no hope of ever raising themselves out of the despair that they're totally engulfed in. And they work for less than living wages to maintain our American bubble of prosperity, wealth, and leisure. 73 million beneath the age of 10 are working right now. And a lot of them are making the products that we wear, we buy, we eat, and we don't even think of it. So define necessity. This image shows the extreme contrast between two clashing cultures. One maintains ours. We don't even think of them working for us. We don't even think of the harm we're doing because we're raised in it. We're totally engulfed in it. And we don't always know the harm that we're doing by it. So, and what does it come to? Perfect prosperity for a few, perfect happiness, I guess you would say, for a few. And while the rest of the world suffers, is that really just? Is that really fair? Is that really what we want to be remembered by? So what can we do to combat a problem like this, so wide and far-stretching? It's totally ingrained in our entire culture and history. So maybe the older generations, they were born into it, they are living in it, and it's most likely they're going to die in it too, because it takes a long time to change something like this. But the younger generations, well, it's our job as youth to war against indiscipline and corruption. So it's our job, it's our duty. We don't have a choice, we're forced into it. We have to solve this problem. So what can we do? Do what truly makes you happy. Don't put your personal claim for money over others' personal claim for freedom. Be like Jonas Salk, who after inventing the polio vaccine, he didn't try for a patent. He said, "Can you patent the sun? Don't claim what doesn't rightfully belong to you." Most importantly, don't ever accept the world we live in as final, because there's so much that can be changed and must be changed if you think about it. And most importantly, accept your role as an instigator of change and not as an observer of destruction. Thank you.